the American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human.
Something is watching us, and these encounters will make your skin crawl. Across different continents, eerie lights, bizarre flying objects, and shocking encounters have left witnesses shaken and authorities scrambling for answers. Today, we dive into 3 of the most chilling UFO sightings from New Mexico, Brazil, and the Shaoshan district in China. November 4th, 1957, Kirtland Air Force Base. Military radar operators pick up something that shouldn't be there. It's not a bird. It's not a plane. It's something else. 2 seasoned personnel rush to the control tower, binoculars in hand. And what do they see? An object shaped like a car standing on its end with a bright white light at the bottom. It hovers. It moves rapidly. It changes direction in ways no known aircraft can. And then, poof, it's gone. 2 years later, another bizarre event. This time, it's September 1959. A mysterious object enters New Mexico's airspace from the south. But here's the kicker. This thing is clocked at 2,200 miles per hour. For reference, that's nearly 3 times the speed of sound. And it's not just one radar picking it up. It's 4. 4 separate military radars, spread across the state, tracking this unknown craft as it makes sharp, angular turns at impossible speeds. Was it Soviet technology? An experimental military craft? Or something out of this world? Sightings are one thing. But physical encounters? That's a whole different level. Hobbs, New Mexico, 1964. An 8-year-old boy is outside a laundromat when he notices a strange, hovering object. It mimics his every movement, shifting left when he moves left, right when he moves right. And then, without warning, a blast of fire shoots from its underside, setting the boy's hair on fire and burning his face. He survives, but the burns are real. And what's even weirder, a nearly identical incident happens in Georgia, witnessed by a traveling salesman. Coincidence? March 1950, broad daylight, Farmington, New Mexico. Dozens, no, hundreds of people flood the streets, eyes glued to the sky. What are they seeing? A fleet of disc-shaped silver objects, some led by a larger red disc. It's not just one town either. On the other side of the state, people in Tucumcari report seeing the same thing. The Farmington Daily Times calls it Huge Saucer Armada Jolts Farmington. The military never offers a real explanation. David Marler, executive director of the National UFO Historical Records Center, isn't trying to convince anyone of aliens. But he does believe one thing: we have a responsibility to preserve history. And these cases, these real documented events, are a part of that history. Could they be advanced military tech, atmospheric anomalies, or something truly beyond our understanding? October 1st, 1968. A night guard on duty in Brazil sees 3 strange figures. Not men, not animals, something else. Armed with only a conduit pipe, he does what any brave or foolish person might do. He charges. But not only does he lose the fight, he's insulted. "Go away, you bum," one of the extraterrestrials sneers before vanishing into a light blue spaceship. As ridiculous as it sounds, this is just one of many bizarre encounters officially collected by COANI, Brazil's system for the investigation of unidentified aerial objects. Between 1969 and 1972, The Brazilian Air Force took UFO sightings seriously, very seriously. Brazil's fascination with UFOs isn't new. The first document in Seoane's collection dates back to 1952, when the post-war world was deep in the nuclear arms race. The military feared these strange lights weren't aliens, but something far more terrestrial, secret Soviet technology. But as reports kept flooding in, the extraterrestrial theory began taking hold in the public's imagination. One of the earliest cases involved a lawyer in 1956. He claimed extraterrestrials, dressed in green jumpsuits, emerged from the ocean and took him aboard their ship, communicating with him telepathically. Sounds absurd, right? But this was just the beginning. Over the years, reports ranged from luminous objects hovering over military bases to civilians claiming direct contact with otherworldly beings. Some encounters were peaceful, like the sanitarium employee who offered water to an alien and heard a thank you in an unknown language, Umba Ura, repeated 3 times. Others, not so much, but not all visitors were friendly. In 1977, reports from Colares, Pará, painted a terrifying picture. People claimed they were being attacked by luminous crafts that emitted paralyzing beams of light. Victims reported waking up with strange burns, drained of blood. The panic was so intense that the Brazilian military launched Operation Saucer, sending investigators to find the truth. The military recorded their own encounters with strange lights. But despite extensive research, no solid conclusions were ever reached. Were they extraterrestrials, secret government experiments, or just mass hysteria? According to researcher João Schramm, UFO reports reflect more about us than the beings we claim to see. They reveal fears, hopes, and the way societies process the unknown. The military never officially confirmed extraterrestrial life, but they did confirm one thing. Something was flying through Brazil's skies, and they had no idea what it was. Could some of these stories be real? Or are they just part of human imagination running wild? One thing's for sure. The sky holds more secrets than we may ever know. China, 2010. It was a quiet evening at Xiaoshan International Airport in Hangzhou, Zhejiang Province. Flights were scheduled, passengers were boarding, and the control tower was operating like any other day. Then, without warning, air traffic controllers froze. Something unexplainable had appeared on their radar, something that defied the laws of physics. A glowing metallic object hovered above the runway, shimmering against the night sky. Pilots, ground crew, and passengers all bore witness to an event that would shake the world of aviation. Within minutes, over 20 flights were delayed, and an emergency protocol was initiated. But before fighter jets could be scrambled, the object vanished. What was it? And why had it come? This was not the first time an event like this had occurred in China. Wang Xichao, a research fellow at the Purple Mountain Observatory, had spent nearly 40 years studying such anomalies. Through years of meticulous research, he discovered a chilling pattern. Major UFO events often occurred in years ending in 1, 2, or 7. He had predicted 2011 and 2012 would be pivotal years for UFO activity in China. But even he was not prepared for what was coming. From Beijing to rural villages in Inner Mongolia, reports of strange, unearthly crafts filled newspapers and government reports. Eyewitnesses spoke of bright, V-shaped formations, spiraling lights in the sky, and even encounters that felt eerily similar to those depicted in Hollywood films. One such event occurred in Nanjing on January 10, 2006, when a V-shaped craft appeared over the city, leaving residents in awe. People described an unnatural silence that fell over the area as the object passed. No birds chirping, no dogs barking, as if time itself had stopped. As governments worldwide struggled to explain these occurrences, Wang Xichao and his team at the observatory worked tirelessly to uncover the truth. They studied flight paths, analyzed satellite images, and interviewed thousands of witnesses. What they found was beyond belief. Some of these unidentified objects were flying at altitudes between 130 kilometers and 1,500 kilometers, well above commercial airspace, yet far below known satellite orbits. More disturbingly, they moved at speeds much lower than what conventional aircraft should be able to sustain, sometimes as slow as 0.29 kilometers per second. Physics dictated that anything at such an altitude moving that slowly should plummet to Earth. And yet, these objects stayed afloat, defying gravity itself. Wang classified over 100 different types of UFOs that had been reported in China alone. While some could be explained as bolides, bright constellations, or atmospheric phenomena, there remained 8 categories that science could not yet explain. These included spiral, fan, spindle, and flying saucer-shaped objects that resembled spacecraft from science fiction. Meanwhile, whispers of government cover-ups and secret military experiments spread. Could some of these sightings be top-secret aircraft? Or was there a more sinister explanation, one that governments were too afraid to admit? While skeptics dismissed the sightings as misidentifications, Wang Xichao remained steadfast in his belief. He urged the scientific community to take the phenomenon seriously. He proposed the development of a special telescope network to track these objects in real time. If China could establish definitive proof of extraterrestrial visitors, it would change the course of history forever. Many scientists believe it is no longer a question of if, but when, we will make contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. Could it be that these objects were studying us, observing from a distance, waiting for humanity to take the next step?